Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Why, hello there.
Hello, guys. Hope you're all having a good day. Hope you're all thawing out a little, maybe. I think we're going to have a tiny bit of a reprieve tomorrow. At least the temps will go over freezing briefly anyway. We want to thank you guys again for your support on Patreon. We couldn't do it without you guys. And if you did need to set up time for an appointment for a Vedic astrology chart or energy work, spiritual coaching, feel free to reach out to us at evolutionaryenergyarts@gmail.com. So, this one, I just want to make kind of a point about some of our hidden history. And, it's just fascinating. The deeper you look, the more you realize that we really, if we're looking to what the history books tell us, they tell us nothing. We could memorize some facts and figures and not know for sure what's right and what's not right. And in this age, too, where you have debunkers galore. Oh, this has been debunked. That's been debunked. Well, we're a little different because what we do is we feel into things. And Cindy is able to read the Akashic records. She's able to get information from other sources all the time, just every day, any day, at any point in time. She has no problems connecting with people that have passed on. I've yet to find somebody that she can't get any information on, in fact. I mean, sometimes it seems that people have passed on. Sometimes she can tell clearly whether they've reincarnated or not, or if they're just kind of sitting doing a life review. So for us, while we report and show things that other people are showing, it's not that we're taking anybody's point of view as fact. We look at interesting phenomena and we say to ourselves, what do we feel? What do the guides come through and share with us? That's how we operate and how we're different from a lot of them out there, a lot of other channels out there. Because again, this is absolutely involving channeling and involving other sources to verify, what is true, what is accurate. And as we go into these amazing things that we have all over our world, we often find that nobody has it right. Exactly. And I think that's the case. And we were sharing today with one of our beloved family members during a session. There's still things that I can't get at any clarity on. And even with Cindy, she'll say sometimes this seems to be blocked. And things do get blocked by very, very high-level professionals on purpose, too, because they can be very, very sensitive. So, we know the CIA, the FBI, the KGB, the OSS, and it just going all on back through our more modern history, has employed various psychics and people with different abilities that you might call paranormal, but they're actually perfectly normal. And in fact, again, when we're out of this age and we're not being purposely toxified and having our pineal gland assaulted, we're all able to tap into things. But that's what we go by more. What do we feel? Not that we, trust anything. Just commenting on like some comments that I see, like if somebody will say something's been debunked, but then we feel that what has been debunked is actually accurate, then we're going to still share it. And so it'd be like, yeah, okay, they could debunk all they want. We see them constantly talking about and saying, and giving us the little wikis saying this isn't true, that has been debunked, this has been debunked. Yeah, you could say that, but in our minds and what we know, no, it's not the case at all. Mm-hmm. And we're thankful that we didn't do what most of the world has done, unfortunately, in the last 4 or 5 years, if you understand what we mean there.
Well, we do work. We have a very solid spiritual program where we're able to work on our spirituality and receiving that information when it's available to be received. But I think what also makes us different is a lot of people, they read books and, they read this information, and they might be a professional at reading books and processing this information and then telling it to other people. But that's just that. They're still taking this literature from the control system, and they're just kind of, putting it back out there. Whereas we look and we see what information is going to come to us. And you can get a lot of different professionals to have their professional opinion, but still their professional opinion is based on the books that they read. And that seems to be the circle that we're stuck in. And we like to help people learn how to use their spiritual gifts, how to use their abilities, how to tap into that seat of the soul. So you're getting authentic information that is true and correct, and not just reading that out of a book again.
And what I want to try to get across in this video is just how much there is out there that is evidence to the fact that there has been amazing civilizations on this planet. Just amazing civilizations, way ahead of what we have available to us today in this day and age as far as technology. But not just that. I mean, not just the technology, because there's plenty of technology today and there's a lot that they don't show us, but wisdom. That's the thing that's missing. Wisdom and understanding of how to live in harmony with nature and still be able to utilize amazing technologies at the same time. Because this world that we live in, this society is doing a horrible job and failing miserably in that endeavor. We are not living in harmony with ourselves, with each other, or with the planet. This is from Michael Tellinger, who's done a lot of traveling, and this is a footprint that's down in South Africa that is a gigantic footprint. Again, there were giants on the earth in those days. Oh, yes, many giants, not just one type of giant. And yeah, you'll have people that will, start quoting the Nephilim, Anakim, etc., etc. But more than that, what you're talking about is, there's giants, and there were also tiny little beings too. That's the fascinating part of it. Humanoid, non-humanoid. There were interactions with all sorts of beings on this planet. And truly, think about it. It's much more like you would go into places and cities in the days gone by, and you would feel like you're in the cantina scene from Star Wars, literally. And we're heading back to that too. That's the big reality. We have giant footprints all over the world, and we have giant structures all over the world. And in fact, again, if we went back before the Younger Dryas event, the world was just a totally different place. And again, we're going back like 12,000 plus years ago. This is the Lady of Mali, and this video Mali is also in Africa. This is, to me, I have no doubts this is a statue. It's gigantic. It's 4,500 feet tall. We did this video and then redid it. I think I did the original Lady of Mali one maybe 5-6 years ago, and then, as you can see, we redid it about a year ago. This is just a fascinating topic, and this is, again, what we got is this is kind of a tribute to an extraterrestrial.
She's very much a hero. People looked up to her. She was very gentle. She was very kind, yet still had the ability to guide and lead in a firm way where people really trusted. And she definitely left her imprint there in this land, and she left her soul spirit there. She really loved the people. So there was a lot to say, a lot to love, and definitely a big reason to leave a monument there with her.
So when we're talking about Mali, it's over here, right? And then, the fascinating other thing with this is we're getting close to, when we look at Mali, we're getting close to that Eye of the Sahara area as well. And if you look closely, you could see there was major cataclysm that washed over this whole area. It washed over the whole area. In fact, there are maps that show the world right here. But the curious thing is, north isn't this way in those maps. As I'm pointing towards, Paris and London. No. North was over in a different direction, meaning we did have a pole shift. Yeah, we've had tremendous cataclysm on this planet, and I think back to Barbara Handclough. Barbara Handclough is another author, and she wrote a book called Catastrophobia, because her take was not so much that we're going to have the natural pole shift again and cataclysms like that, but that we were so traumatized by it in our past. It's in our DNA memory, and it just haunts us. And I do think that is absolutely correct.
I believe that too, because people have this thing where they are just so terrified that, the world is going to shift. There will be a crustal displacement. Where do I go? What do I do? And when I look at earth changes like that, I think, gosh, it is terrifying and it is scary, but I don't see any point in up and moving my whole world, my whole life, because with something that big and that devastating, there's not going to be anywhere to go. I mean, the earth, she's going to do what she is going to do. But when it comes to what I see, anyhow, I don't get visions like that moving forward in this lifetime.
Now, that's not to say that we don't anticipate Cascadia, the New Madrid, and, the San Andreas going, because we absolutely do. But we're not talking about where you have to be at 10,000 feet or above to maybe survive. By the way, that giant footprint, again, South Africa down here. And then, of course, we have all the legends of the Anunnaki. And we have mines that are, very ancient mines, hundreds of thousands of years old in South Africa, that were obviously mining for gold. And, according to our history, that just doesn't calculate. It doesn't compute, so to speak. Now, Mali here. And we're going to look at a couple other areas. We're going to look over in Lebanon, and we're also going to look up in Siberia. And then we're going to peek all the way over to wonderful Peru, which is just another amazing area. This is Baalbek, and this is in Lebanon. To me, when I look at these structures, it's just Anunnaki. It just feels so Anunnaki. What is the Anunnaki style? Well, it's Greco-Roman style. Look at the size of this.
That's like huge. I mean, I don't think we have any equipment today that could cut that, let alone move it.
Yeah, and this is not the only place you find these. This might be the single largest block, perhaps, but there are structures that are actually far bigger that we'll touch on as well. Again, when you can't move it with modern equipment, you gotta know there was. And this is Brian Forrester, by the way. You got to know that we had more advanced technology available then than we do now, at least what they show us. And we have to use that little caveat. Brian Forrester, one of the best at covering these amazing sites, whether it's over in this area in the Middle East, in Egypt, or over in Peru and Bolivia. I know he does regular tours. Maybe if the world is a more peaceful place and we have a great timeline, maybe Cindy and I will be doing that in 10 years. That would be the way I'd love to finish up this life, doing stuff like that. That would be so much fun. Look at the intricacy, look at the artwork. And again, if you're talking stuff that's thousands of years old, look at these blocks, so perfectly formed, in place for thousands of years. Haven't lost its foundation completely. Yeah, there have been all sorts of things that have happened to the world over the last several thousand years, but still they stand. It's just amazing. And again, the detail and the messages. And then why also do they make these things so big? Was it just ego to show how big they could do something? Or did they have visitors or people that were huge as well as normal-sized people?
Well, if you look at the information, if you feel into it, it just seems like, well, they made it for big people.
Yeah, they made it so an average sized human can go on through, and then people that were maybe, 10, 12 feet tall, and maybe even some that were quite a bit substantially bigger than that. Look at these structures. They are just breathtaking and fabulous. And we do find amazing sites like this all over the entire world. This, again, was a global society. I've been rereading the Mahabharata and at the same time going through the Bhagavad Purana. And one of the things that this one author was doing a commentary on was actually talking about something from the Ramayana. And Ravenna, who was an asura, or a more demonic type of entity, so to speak. And that's, again, behavior. That's how do they act? Are they kind and gentle and benevolent, or are they just simply totally out for themselves and will squish anybody in their path and create a situation where they enslave others? Well, he was definitely the latter. And the thing that the author wanted to get across was these wars of the gods that were happening were global in nature. And in fact, there's references again to him in his flying vehicle. This is what it says, his flying machine. That was his machine. They would recognize his Vimana, his machine, and his craft. And he might be gone from the area. He might be off in a totally different continent because, again, travel was continental. People were not just stuck to one place. No, they moved freely. These beings, the gods, quote unquote, absolutely moved freely. But they were at war with each other. And again, they had their own little tribes. Again, look at the sizes of these blocks that we have here, and perfect construction. 90-degree angles obviously do not typically come by in nature. And when you look at the structures, it really does give you the feeling that you have various size beings that are getting together and maybe having discussions, maybe taking orders. So this is located in Lebanon, about 60 kilometers east of Beirut. Baalbek is one of the most important archaeological sites in the Near East, and it's a World Heritage Site by UNESCO. This is just so amazing. Again, Baal, it literally does translate as Lord, and of course, Baal has a negative connotation when you look at things according to the Abrahamic tradition, as you often had deities competing with each other, and they competed with each other in various ways. They really did.
Well, I mean, I guess you look in the Bible and you look at translations. If those two words are interchangeable and it says something in the Bible about the Lord, how do you know you're not reading about Baal? You just don't.
And then we have this. And this is another, doesn't this look like a staircase for giants? It certainly looks like a staircase for giants. Now, maybe it was all about terraced farming. This is, again, another amazing site in Peru. This is not too far away from a half dozen amazing sites in Peru. Just fascinating. And again, you got staircases that normal people can use and staircases that giants could use. It certainly looks that way. Appearances can be deceiving, but it certainly does look that way. And just look at the structures, the angles. This kind of reminds me of what we see again in Sumeria and Akkadia and Babylon. It reminds me, they're all connected. You look at these little structures. It's just fascinating. These tight seams that come together, and it does look like there was some sort of writing, don't you think? Maybe even figures that have been washed away, and that might feel very much like Egypt, with some of the inscriptions. Now, they'll tell you, oh, this was built by the Incas. Well, no, the Incas did this part. The Incas came and you could see the difference in the quality Yeah, the Incas did this, and they'll want to tell you some of these sites are only 1,000 years old or what have you. What's Praveen Mohan? Is that his name? Praveen. He specifically usually talks about India and everything Vedic, but he probably has 1 million plus followers. He does a great job talking about so many of these amazing sites. It's a history that is not what we've been told, and it's a history that would change our perspective. That's the biggest thing. It would change our perspective and understanding of not just our own planet, but I think of the entirety of how life is. And it is so abundant in this universe. Look at this site. It's mind-blowing, and I hope someday we could actually see it in person. That would definitely be an awesome experience. Look at how they built and how they built into the cliff sides. Now, you picked up a lot of frequencies on this, and you do think there were many different beings that were interacting here. This was, again, kind of a gathering place.
It was a gathering place of different tribes. It was a learning place. It was a teaching place. It was where people came together to help build. I mean, I'm also picking up, and I hate to use the word slaves, but I guess I'll use the word worker, a worker race, that they were just very good at their jobs. They were very, very skilled at their handiwork, and they enjoyed doing what they did. So this was another place where other people could come and learn about these stones, learn about history. I'm picking up historical information here as well. So it's not just a basic gathering place. It's where people come to learn possibly even about different planetary alignments or planetary histories, galactic history. Picking up a lot of that information, and it was not unusual to run into many different colors and many different kinds of beings here. So everyone very, very accepting, everyone understanding that this world is here, and it's a training ground, and there were many people who just simply enjoyed it, and they utilized this area to its fullest. Now, the stones that you're looking at carry a lot of power, and I think that's why it would be so fun to go there, because you can touch them and you can absorb all of the history. You can absorb all of the memories. You can go back. It's easier to go into the Akashic records if you're just sitting right there, and if you're holding it, if you're sitting down meditating next to it, you're going to get so many different visions, and it would be incredibly fun to go there. And I do hope that we get a chance to do some things like that, because heck, we could do videos from there.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is Ollantaytambo. This is an amazing site. Again, Inca stronghold, but the Inca didn't build this themselves. This is something that they came and took over at a much later date. Of course, that's not necessarily what the history books will say. But and the other thing to realize, this is at like 9,000 plus feet in altitude. This is way up there, way up there. Just an amazing place. Now then we have Gornaya Shoria megaliths in southern Siberia. So here again, you have megalithic structures put together. And these are truly out in the middle of nowhere. These are ginormous. And it says, while the pregnant woman's stone of Baalbek is considered to be one of the largest, if not the largest single stone used in ancient megalithic site with a weight of about 1,500 tons, if researchers conclude that these megalithic stones are the works of ancient man, it would rewrite the history, because some of these are up around 4,000. So these are significantly larger. This is significantly bigger structure out in the middle of nowhere, where you wouldn't think, necessarily you would find something like this. But again, the weather does change, and there were different technologies available to be utilized. So again, this is Siberia. Look at the size of these. This is mammoth. As you can see, the person standing there. And look at these angles and the way that they're placed. There's actually a lot in Siberia, but Siberia doesn't have a lot of people. That's part of it, and a lot of Siberia is truly, there's a lot out there that's really not inhabited at all. And there are also gigantic footprints that are found out in these areas. Did giants roam there? I definitely think there were giants there. And again, we were giants in a different age. As we've shared, when we are in the golden age, there's a lot more oxygen, and we are not under the influence of the dark control system, which is trying to keep us weak, numb in the mind, numbed down, dumbed down, drugged up. No, we're totally different beings in those ages, and the vehicles that we inhabit are much larger as well. As you can see, some of these structures. Look at those angles. That's not natural. No. These are gigantic construction blocks that have been put together. What do you feel when you go into these?
It feels almost like it's protected. It feels like it's sacred. It feels like anyone going there should probably, I would surround yourself with energy. It feels like there could be some haunts there where there might have been rituals that were not things that we would really approve of in this society today. So I don't get warm and fuzzies and everyone gathering together for fun here. I get a very serious kind of stone cold type feeling. Like this was a place of definitely like a place of worship, a place where they would go to talk to the gods. Very cut and dry information. That beings that came here were very strict in their ways, very strict. So it's not an easy peasy, airy fairy place to go. You just don't go here flippantly and touch stuff and do things without taking on some of these energies out of some of the rituals and some of the gods that came here to utilize the energy for themselves. It feels like almost like a place too where they would go for asking. They would go for permission from the earth, from the realms, maybe even asking for other help from different planets. I mean, it does feel like so rigid, the energy that I pick up.
Well, and there's other sites in Siberia too that are very much of a protective nature, like you were saying, and it was thought that these might have been sites that were utilized during the Wars of the Gods, so to speak. And I wouldn't doubt that.
Place
and
to give offering, place for asking.
Yeah, and you could go to our own Asheville, North Carolina area, and right there's a spot called the Devil's Courtyard, and I've been there too, and talked about that in videos. It's where a giant named Judicala would basically be the judge over humans, giants, and other beings, including some inner earth beings. And he would basically, when there were wars and other issues going on, he would be the one that would judge there. And that's why it was called the Devil's Courthouse, because he was a giant. And then there's also Judicala Rock in that area too. I thought this was cute. Humanity researches AI. Humanity perfects AI. AI perfects itself. AI enslaves humanity. Solar flare disables AI. Humanity worships the sun god.
Isn't that cute?
Isn't that cute? Yeah, except for this particular this particular AI, it was the Draco that actually developed it. And it enslaved them, and then they enslaved various tribes of humans, so to speak.
I don't know, maybe we could learn a little something from this circle of life here.
Yes, well, the sun is not our enemy. The sun is absolutely It's a relay from source. It is a relay from the benevolent ones, and it is something that is a blessing. There is no life without the sun. As always, guys, look forward to your comments. Much love. Thanks for being part of this family. Source bless. Namaste.
Namaste.